Hey, what's up, guys? So, today is one of our first episodes of Goddess Talk, and we are about to get started in just a second. So, use this time to pull out your pen, your paper, your notebook. Look at me. I'm scrambling to find mine because it's all about learning. And so, it's time to talk that Goddess Talk, guys, and we have an amazing guest with us today. Jessica Mitchell from Women Let's Speak. What's up, Jess?
Hey girl, I'm trying to get my book together. Some books I'm gonna put people on to.
Right? Everybody's getting their notes together too.
Yay! Okay. Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Oh, I love your hair.
Thank you, boy. I just got it cut, so it's
It's flowing.
mhm.
100% naturalistic, y'all, from her head to her toes.
Yes.
So today we want to talk about womb healing. And I started to hear more about this topic when I started to be on my goddess journey. And it has a lot to do with healing our inner goddess. And I asked that in a question tone because I know a little bit, but I don't know everything about this subject. So guide us.
Okay. So,
What is womb healing?
what is womb healing? Well, there are different types of womb trauma that we experience as women. Some things being STDs, rape,
Mm,
birth, abortion, miscarriage. Let me see.
wow.
If you had multiple, like if you were a sex worker, these things are traumatizing to the womb. If you had a hysterectomy, all these things where our wombs have been abused or
Mm,
attacked. Let's even the womb is the uterus, so we can get like a clear understanding of what the womb is, and
break
then
it down.
spiritual. That's the physical, like biological organ, and then on a spiritual level, it's the divine feminine energy where we store a lot of our maternal trauma, our ancestors, our
Wow.
female energy is always stored in our womb space. It's a
Right.
must tissue. So in our tissues, we store all the good things and all the bad things.
Mm,
So when it came to me going on my womb healing journey, I I've had multiple abortions, and when I was in my youth, and I had some guilt towards those doing that. And when I found out that this caused some of the trauma that I was dealing with, it just I was spirit advised me to just dig deeper, be more
right.
about learning about my womb space. So I started studying my chakras, and I understood that the womb, the sacral energy was the feminine energy. It's it's the seat of creation where
Wow.
we can create, speak life, but we
Mm,
also can harm ourselves if we're storing so much trauma in our wombs.
right.
So one great book that I wanted to, and my book is tore up, y'all, because I read it
Hold up. We got a
so
book recommendation coming up.
because she really the GOAT. Queen of Fool, Sacred
Oh my
Woman.
goodness. I've seen her on Instagram. Queen of
She's
our Fool.
Queen of Fool. That this book is called Sacred Woman, and she goes into so much detail about from the womb, the energies, crystals, herbs, stones,
Everything for healing.
foods for your womb, just healing the relationships, how to move our bodies, everything. She gives you every tool you need to really like go on this journey, but be guided with like
Right.
her years of experience, years of wisdom on
Hmm.
even women with fibroid cysts, all these things that a lot of women are experiencing. If you
Yeah.
getting yeast infections, these things that we're experiencing, a lot of this is energetic, a lot of this is the food that we're eating, and a lot of it's just us holding on to energy and it coming up and
Let it
I'll
go.
speak to us. Our womb is really trying to speak to us,
That's
and
what it is.
and
These are all symptoms, and it's like your body trying to communicate with you, like, hey, something is going on. And we think it's just normal. Like, okay, every woman has had a yeast infection. Every woman has went through something. We normalize it, and it's not normal. That's what you're saying.
exactly,
Got
it's
you.
it's a sign that we do need to build that relationship with our womb and connect and see what we can do better. See what see what's the root to a lot of the issues that we may be experiencing.
Mm.
And like I said, after I had those abortions, I knew that that scarred me, but it took me back to why was I so afraid to just have children? Like what was the root of that, energy? And it took me back to like my mother always like, making children seem as that was like, you know,
Burden.
a burden to, you know, it holds you back. It's the worst thing, and a lot of women in her era, we don't celebrate birth, even though this is natural for us, like in our culture as a people, tribal people,
Right.
indigenous people, like we normally celebrated life and children, but because we are so separated from like our
Yeah.
tradition, culture, we just look down upon it.
Mm.
And so that took me on that journey where, just trying to heal my relationship with my mother
Yeah.
and going through that transition all the way up until I had my first daughter. And when you are pregnant, you're like really forced to, be intentional, be mindful about what's going on within you. So
Yeah.
that's on a beautiful journey down like who I was as a woman and who I wanted to be as a mother and what I wanted to, how I wanted to raise my children. And I really wanted to raise them holistically,
Right.
organically. I knew I wasn't getting vaccinations, so I knew I had to be the doctor. And
Right.
this is what got me into herbs. I don't know if you wanted to transition into that.
No, no, no. Yeah, but before we do that, I noticed you said something that's really important. Are you saying that when you're on the journey of healing your womb, that the first thing you did was heal your relationship with your mother? Because I know they say like we carry trauma from our mother because the egg is inside of us and inside of our mom and inside of our grandmother, so it goes back. So was that the first step? Like, let me go to where the root of everything is from and heal that relationship, and then you had your daughter?
I think the first step was me realizing how much trauma I had
Mm.
in my womb. I didn't think that, having an abortion was, you just don't know what is considered having a traumatized womb until you actually research and you see all these lists of things. And I had multiple um,
Mm.
I went through multiple traumatic things, and I didn't connect that to me having so much womb trauma and how that kind of leads you into cycles and behaviors that are just self-destructing.
Right.
All of this was, a part of me just doing my inner work and trying to figure out why I just kept having these patterns of, not like feeling so empty and these voids and all these things
We've
that I
all
was
felt it.
feel with, you try to fill them with smoking or just partying or man.
Drinking, love. Love in the
Exactly,
wrong places, though.
exactly. Any, you're trying to fill it with attention. So it was just this deep void, and I just, like it's almost, we our bodies always are speaking to us and communicating with us. And I think I was internally asking these questions that I wanted to understand about myself. And it all came back to, you know, the beginning. Where does life begin? In the womb. And
Hmm.
that's the beginning. So that was how spirit just naturally, got me into uh,
Her.
womb work is real recognizing all the trauma that I have experienced. Even like I said, with just having multiple partners, and I know we kind of make this a casual thing these days.
Try to make it cool.
Right,
Been there. Are you like, yeah, that's one of my hoes. I mean, you try to embody it and you flip the script, and it's just like, no, that's not what it is. Your body is still sacred, and it took me forever to realize that. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. This isn't cool. I shouldn't have like hoes.
Right.
Let me not.
Exactly.
But
And
this is what brought you into like studying herbs and seeing how it could affect our bodies in a healing way.
right. And really, like with my children, just knowing that I wanted to be their soul doctor, like, I wanted to be the number one caregiver for my children. So I was studying herbs, like for, just sickness, flu, ear infections, things,
Anything.
home remedies, natural things that are so easily accessible. I started digging into that. And with my second birth, when I went through with my home birth, I had a home birth. I had doulas, just birth workers.
That
That
sounds so scary.
it, it was the best. It was honestly the best experience. Like I had the epidural hospital experience. That was traumatizing. Like that was
Wow.
another traumatizing event to the womb. And we could go into that another day, but
Right. But
so
this was like when you found out that it was healthier to do a home birth. You weren't afraid, like, man, I need to have 911 on speed dial just in case we all don't know what we're doing, or you just felt like
I
completely
felt
confident.
it was like they took my experience away with my first daughter at the doctor, like how they really make you feel like you don't know your body and they're the authority. They know what's going on more than you, and they not even ask you for consent. They're just doing what making you feel like something is wrong, so they have to do this and they have to do that. And you,
Mm,
the first time, you're not,
no.
knowledge that you need to advocate for yourself as a birthing person, and you're going through these transitions mentally to open your body's opening on so many levels when you're during birth, during labor, that you're not in the even mental space to really go there with different people. So that's why it's always great to have a doula, because a doula is there to advocate for you. And if
Right.
you told her exactly what you want, she's in the mental space to say no. We talked about this, and she said she didn't want this. Was that she's there to kind of defend you while you're birthing, and
Mm,
that's why I love having my child at home, because there was no interruptions. There was no
mm,
like telling me how to go through this rites of passage. This was my experience that I
yeah.
wanted. It was a family experience because my husband was there, my mother was there, my father was there, my
That's
stepfather,
beautiful.
everybody that you want at home. So it was like a family experience. My family got to witness like this rites of passage, and how it just was perfect.
It
So
sounds beautiful. It's supposed to be a spiritual thing, not mechanical, and
right, like an emergency, and that's how
yeah.
they treat it. Like, and even now with the people who going to their prenatal appointments, every appointment is trying to tell you that, do you want to take a shot to see, or you want to get this, or you want to get your blood drawn to see if the baby has high blood pressure, or
All
you
these experiments. You like, okay,
every
enough of
every
that.
every appointment now they're doing that. Like that's what's getting, that's why I'm kind of happy with all this COVID stuff going on, because I feel like the hospitals have been doing our people wrong for many years,
Let's
and
speak on it.
it's time for us to really like take our healing, our birth into our own hands, and because they they say the number one surgery in America is a C-section, and the number two is a hysterectomy, where
Wow.
they're taking our uterus out, and for any reason, you have fibroids, you have cysts,
They ready.
they're
And that
just
should
letting
be the last
it
option.
out, and we know
Mm.
this is a part of a bigger agenda, but we don't want to act like we're about to start talking about some conspiracy theories, but this is the truth. Like they don't want us to be fruitful. They don't want the
Mm.
hospitals. It's just so much underlining. They want our organs.
It's
It's
too
just,
much.
yeah, it's too
And
much.
so this is the safe place. Having a doula, going through the spiritual experience, and then healing your womb yourself. I think some women might be afraid of doing everything themselves, and that's why we have to take it upon ourselves to educate ourselves so we can do it. Because you did it, you actually educated yourself on how to heal your womb even after your pregnancy. I'm assuming like that's when it's like the most helpful.
Yeah, because like I said, like even you had your first child and you still are going through traumatic things. So it's almost like this ongoing journey. But I can honestly say that like the person that I am today, people I say like you are so calm, you are so patient, you're so
Yes.
understanding, and I wasn't like this. Like this is not who I've always been. I've actually was used to fight. I would have,
Oh my God, Jess, I cannot imagine you out there fighting. Y'all, she is so peaceful and loving.
and this
But
is
everybody got a history.
I really like dealt with that, and for us women, like that's our most painful like experiences, and we hold them in our womb, like just being taken advantage of or violated in any sexual way, molestation. That's also a trauma, a
Yeah.
womb, and rape and all these things. And we go, so many women experience these things, and we holding on to it. Like so many women back in the day, they didn't even speak on the things that they went through. So they really held their traumas and they really held their pain.
I can imagine.
So now we're in a generation where we're ready to speak out and
That's what we're
um,
doing right now.
right. That's what my organization, Women Let's Speak, because I really wanted us to start talking about our real issues and not being afraid, not feeling ashamed, just, allowing our stories to be medicine to other women that are going through things and they don't know what to think or what to feel or what to even do to get
Where to
over
start?
where to start. So,
So, ladies, let's get into the healing part. If you identify with any of the things that we talked about, and we all have, I have too, this is the part where you pull out your notepad and we're going to talk about healing it right now.
yes. Okay. So, for the womb, there are many different things that we can do to release that energy out of our wombs. One of the things is visualization. So that consists of just internally just imagining in your mind, closing your eyes, kind of somewhat like a meditation, but
Mm-hmm.
just being very mindful and envisioning, imagining yourself just being in your womb and going within that space and just seeing, speaking life and healing over your womb, feeling your womb, and just really connecting. It's really
Mm-hmm.
a connection. Of course, there are different colors that you can
Mm-hmm.
think of as well if you want different things, if you want more energy, more creativity, healing, love. Love is like green and white is purity. But a lot of them are in this book,
Okay.
Sacred Woman book. Wonderful. I really love how she has meditations that are for different areas that you want to heal. So I
Wow.
recommend, I don't want to take her work or anything. I just want to give her the credit because she really did the work, years of work, and put into this body of work of her book, Sacred Woman, to really
Mm-hmm.
as women. And it's all from Afrocentric. Um, all her work is
Spirituality.
Afrocentric. Uh,
Wow. So is this book,
Spirituality.
can you say that this book is specifically for African American women?
Oh yeah,
Okay, ladies, cop that book. That's for us
yes.
exclusively. I mean, that's important. Nobody ever focuses on us specifically, and we have different needs and we have different connections with God.
Exactly. And all she used African like goddesses and gods. So it's bad. It's dope. It's amazing.
I'm
So
ready for it.
we
So,
got
visualization, I like that. Take time to visualize yourself in the womb. That puts you in the heart space and head space.
and it builds that relationship with you and your womb space because we don't really take that time to really like put your hand on your womb and just close your eyes and feel like feel the tenderness. Sometimes you feel tender. Sometimes you feel just like bloated or full, all these things. And all you have to do is just slow down and be intentional about visualizing what's going on. Like, and
Mm,
that helps to build your relationship with your divine feminine when you
mm.
give her that energy, when you give her that attention.
There we
So
go.
visualization. The next one is breath work. This is one of my favorites because it is like an instant relief. It's an
Hmm.
instant
It's true.
reward, instant relief, instant reward, right?
Instantaneous, y'all. Get with it right now, healing.
Okay. So one of the breath
Reset.
exercises that I love is called Breath of Fire.
Hmm.
And let me see if I can demonstrate this. So you want to breathe out of your nose. So
Breathe out of my nose, not in.
right, not in. So
Okay, this will be different for
clear
me.
your nose, clear your nose, because it's going to be like you're really pushing, and make sure that right here on your womb, you're exhaling too. So it's like,
So I inhale through my nose and exhale through my nose.
no, you're not, you don't even focus on the inhale,
Okay.
just focus the just breathing out of your nose. And how one of my teachers, she was like, how a dog is
Hmm.
like his stomach, the stomach. So it's like, but that's out the mouth. So now we're just gonna out of your
Oh, I'm doing it.
mouth.
I can't believe I could do it. It's like you feel like you would need to inhale, but you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
What does that do? The
That's
fire.
called
You said that's called the fire,
the breath of fire.
breath of fire.
Yes. And that one, oh my God, you're gonna feel high.
How many times do you have to do it? How many times do you do it in a set?
In her book, she will start you at that 100, and then she builds up like you add 100 each gateway that you open. You supposed to add like 100 more. Yeah. So at
I
one
just heard a keyword gateway.
yes.
Okay.
So that's she in her book. She breaks it down in gateways. So the first one is like sacred words. She talks about like what you speak, sacred foods, what you eat, sacred movement, which is another one we'll talk about, sacred beauty, sacred space, sacred healing,
Ooh,
sacred relationships, sacred union, and all these are gateways.
wow. It's like a shift. Like you go through different shifts. Just keep shifting yourself till you hold.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. So you get whole. Yes. Okay. So that's the breath of fire. That's my favorite one. That is used in Kundalini yoga. It's used
Mm-hmm.
in African like spiritual. She uses it in her book. So it's
Got
really
you.
used in many different ways.
And these are all things you can do from home. They're like free.
Free, exactly. So that's the breath of fire. So that is really going to push that energy out of your womb. So
Wow.
sometimes we feel like, you feel the weight of the world. We feel it right in our womb space.
Yeah.
So that like forceful breath is like a release, is very helpful when you would do it with your eyes closed, and then when you're done, like say if you just did 30 or 100 or whatever you did, when you're
Mm-hmm.
done, you're going to take a deep inhale in through the nose, and you hold it. You will hold that breath. So now you're like feeling your womb like with all the breath to like
Mm.
one last release, and you just sit there in meditation, and you will just float like your
Yes.
spirit is gonna float. You're gonna feel high. You're gonna feel like you may start vibrating, a bit.
Oh, I'm ready. So hold it and then exhale.
Right.
So,
So
ladies, we got visualization, and then you have to do the breath of fire,
breath
which is
work,
breath work.
and then there's actual meditations that you can go to online, like YouTube. There's one in particular. If you type in womb blessing or womb, it's like womb healing, womb blessing meditation. There's different ones that you can can pick and choose from, and that's just more visualization. If they do some breaths, she's just speaking, words that you can be mindful to use, for yourself, and it's just that's where I get my meditations from. Or of course, the Sacred One has different meditations in her book. I know we have about 20 minutes, so I don't want to, take too much time on doing a meditation, but maybe another day we can.
Yeah, for sure.
We can make this a continual thing, because this is so much,
Yeah.
in 20 minutes. It's
It's
so much.
such a process. Yeah, you can't try to speed that up.
Exactly.
Take your time, ladies. Just work on 1 through 3, and then we'll touch base on some herbs, because I know everybody's excited to know what herbs to grab. And I know this is like
Okay, well, let me say this too, because movement, like shaking our hips. Like, a lot of people like, why are we twerking so much, And
so you're
it
saying
helps.
twerking is good. Twerking
It,
is good.
yes, it gets the energy out. Like, you feel it when you're like really popping, like when like no one's looking, and
That's
you're not,
true.
you're not trying to hold back, like, or really winding your hips, like really winding of the hips. That's gonna help, like, move that energy around. That's
That
gonna
whole
really,
area right there, the whole womb area. So it's more focused like on your hips,
yeah,
that
and may
your
think that
lower
that's
body.
sexual or uh, ratchet, but no, this is something that indigenous people do from all over, because this is gonna help circulate that energy and work it out. It makes you feel good. Of course,
Mhm.
movement, exercise, these are all good for our overall health and wellness. So, but mainly focusing on those hips and moving those hips and
Move
doing
those hips, y'all. We know.
so that is a great way, especially for younger girls that are experiencing, like, a buildup of energy. We don't, they're taking that energy as, I need to have sex. I know when I was 16, I'm like, what's this feeling? Woo, and you think,
Yeah,
oh, I'm supposed to be having sex.
yeah,
Instead of someone saying, no, you need to breathe. You can get that energy moving. You don't have to,
use
hold it
it.
there or
Yeah,
feel that that's because that's,
sexual energy.
and instinctually, that's what we're gonna think, like, oh, it must be mating season, or must be needing. But we have to educate our our daughters, and to with other ways to releasing that energy, because they're only gonna do what they think they're
But they
supposed
feel, and they don't even know what they feeling.
to. Exactly.
You know.
So yes, dance is a great way, or movement. Of course, stretches, a lot of opening of the hips. So different stretches where you are like in that squat position, or your legs are open, your hips are open. This is a great way to release that energy.
Got you.
So
Dance, move that body around, okay? Have a twerk session.
yes, no pose bars. And then you also have another method to healing your womb. Is one of my favorites, and it's yoni steaming.
Hey, this is
So,
what we've all been waiting for.
yes,
Clear out that old energy, all the old exes. I can't wait to do mine.
yes. So steaming has been done for forever.
Tell
Um,
people what yoni steam is, because some people may not know. What is
okay.
yoni? You know?
So the yoni is the womb, which is the uterus. Also, but it consists of the spiritual aspect of it as well. So that divine feminine, it's it's a it's a combination of all those things versus just the uterus, or just the cervix, or just the vagina. This is that whole area, that whole space. So spiritually, it's that space,
Hmm.
and the biological aspect of that space. Hold on, folks. Just give me 1 second. So that's the yoni, and yoni steaming is when you take some medicinal herbs, dried herbs. Some people use fresh herbs. Some people use ginger. You can use lemon. There's different things, different herbs, different um, foods that you can use for
Are there
different.
specific herbs, or it doesn't matter? We're
No,
herbs.
there's different. Like, I make different blends. One is for infection fighting. So this is for women that are experiencing like BV, um, they have discharge, yeast, things like that. So that type of, so you really go off of what your issues are. If you really want,
Right.
you want to make this personal, you want to make this
Right.
about what your needs. So I have that blend, and then I also have a postpartum blend, so for women that just had a baby. And then I have a
New moms.
new moms. I have a toning of the uterus, strengthening of the uterus blend, and what's my last one? Postpartum. I have an infection fighting one, and then I have a PMS one, where if you have like hard periods, or if your periods are just like coming whenever, they're not balanced, that you have a lot of cramping. I have one for those women as well, and usually those are the younger women. So
Yeah.
I have like a different variety. So those are the blends I have, but of course you can find blends for any issue that you have, or that you're experiencing. And yes,
Hmm.
there are different herbs for those particular issues that you may have. One of
Right.
the one of my bases that I use pretty much in all of them is rosemary. Um,
Mm.
I use comfrey. I love calendula. Calendula,
Calendula.
calendula. That's Calendula.
And what is that for? Calendula.
Calendula is for skin tightening. It's great for
Mm.
skin regeneration. So that's one of the ones that I use in my postpartum blends because, of course, your skin is coming back. It's healing. You may have had a tear.
I
So
hear, I see that baby. Is that nature?
this is Nature Cali.
Hey y'all. Hey baby. And nature she was also a home birth too.
Right. She was what's called a free birth, where you don't have any doctors, any nurses, and you just have your baby for free.
Wow.
And she really got me on the path of herbs, like really like taking them daily, because I really understood the benefit, and I really believe. And that's another thing too I want to speak on herbs, is that we have to really build a relationship with our herbs, like as far as your usage with them. The more you use them, the more your body will be able to like um, reap the benefits of them. You can't be
Right.
like, well, I took this tea for a week. I'm not, you have to
On working, so you put it in
daily,
your
you know,
system. You just got it in
especially
your system.
I make nourishing herbs that are for drinking purposes, and those herbs we can drink daily. You can probably have 3 cups of tea a day
That's true.
with these nourishing herbs. So I know there's like detoxing herbs. There are all kinds of herbs that we use, but with those nourishing herbs like red raspberry leaf, that's great for the reproductive system.
So
Red,
should raspberry leaf be something we drink, or are some of the herbs for drinking and some of them are for the yoni steam specifically, or it doesn't matter? You could use them for it.
you, I would say, do your research, because they're different. You will find different research on these herbs, on what you should drink, what you shouldn't drink. But of course, like the nourishing herbs, which I'll give you, these are herbs that you can drink daily. And so one of those are the red raspberry leaf,
Got it.
and another one is nettles.
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 And I'm so big on like if I'm gonna drink tea, I might as well be all the way healthy. So I sometimes try not to use sugar because I'm like, okay, sugar isn't good for you. So is it okay to use sugar? Should you drink it, straight up? Should you have honey? Because
Yes,
it's healthy.
I don't see anything wrong with raw honey. I
Hmm.
like local honey, raw honey. These are, I definitely use it. I'm getting out of it, you know, because I'm just starting to
Over
like,
it.
just nice and bitter.
Yeah,
So
me too. As soon as you stop drinking tea with sugar, you enjoy the flavor of the actual tea. You're like, you know what? I don't need sugar or honey. I want to taste this lavender.
yes. So another for herbs is this one is called, can y'all see it? Wise Woman Herbal Childbearing Year. And this is
Why?
by Susan S. Weed. This is like one of the books all midwives and doulas usually have because it gives you herbal remedies for prenatal, like during your pregnancy. It gives you herbs to use for afterbirth, and it just gives you herbs to use on your child. Um, I also made herbs for my lotus birth because with my third child, I just kept the placenta attached. I kept the umbilical cord. I kept everything attached, and you can create a herbal blend because it is still flesh, so it can create odor if you don't put some type of herbs, salt, things like that to help it dry out and to just give it a nice aroma
Hmm.
herbally. You can do like cinnamon,
Wow.
different.
That's
Um,
definitely something they're not doing at the hospital.
oh no, they're definitely taking training.
What?
Yes,
That's out of the question.
if you don't ask, like they're not even
They're not gonna ask you and they'll give you all the options for everything else but that option
exactly, and that's
over it.
still blood that runs through the umbilical cord, especially right after. I'm sorry.
Here's cool. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I see you guys in the comments. Jess actually sells some of the herbs and the teas, and I know you guys are saying you want some tea. Definitely feel free to follow her.
Yes, I can ship you guys out. I have Yoni steaming herb. This is a very popular blend that I've been promoting because it's a full body blend and
Hmm.
has mullein leaf. So this is for the respiratory system. I wanted to put something that, you know, because we have this COVID and it's a respiratory virus. So I wanted to make sure that I found something that nourish our respiratory system. And it has the red raspberry leaf, which like I said, is our reproductive system, but it's also
Hmm.
good for men as well.
Okay.
And I have nettles, which I already spoke on too. It's very high in iron. It has chlorophyll. It's high in chlorophyll, so that brings oxygen to the blood, which also helps just circulate blood, and that's great for our overall health. And the last thing is cloves, which is like it boosts your immune system. It's good for the liver, and it gives it like this aromatic taste that's kind of like cinnamon. I can't even say cinnamon,
Cinnamon.
cinnamon,
I
but
love cinnamon.
it's not. But it gives it like that. What is that fall kind of like?
Autumn
Just
flavor, y'all.
it,
Pumpkin
it's
spice
yeah,
latte.
it's warming to the body, and that's what we need as women and men. When we're healing, we want our bodies to be warm. Helps this helps us to relax. This helps for your body to do what it's supposed to do, because when our bodies are cold, everything begins to tighten, and that just prolongs healing. That prolongs just overall wellness. So we want to keep our bodies warm. We're moving into the fall season. So like I was speaking on before, you building a relationship with your herbs, like just
Right.
take regularly, will boost your body's ability to adapt to the
Mm.
medicinal properties of the herbs that you're taking. And like I said, you can put intentions of your herbs. You can, especially your yoni steaming herbs when you're doing your steams. If you want to release, because you're gonna sweat, you're going to be open. That steam is going to bring juices down. If you have old blood from, maybe let's say if you just had a miscarriage, or if you just, it's great to do right after your period.
Hmm.
So to just bring any overall or leftover blood, if you have like that brown blood or black blood, some women say they have squeaky clean. You're
Right.
gonna feel tight. The skin is gonna feel tighter.
Revitalized.
I love it. It's another instant gratification, an instant reward.
You could
Uh,
feel it. You could tell the difference.
yeah, you can tell the difference. You can feel the difference. I'm very intentional when I do them about just releasing, like,
Hmm.
take, because you're giving yourself permission to take this 30, 45 minutes to, focus on yourself and your body. So it's a great time to, light your sage and just
That's right. Get your crystals there. Set the whole mood and the vibe. This is for you.
tune in, do journal. Journaling is another thing for womb healing as well.
Hmm.
Journaling, a lot of journaling, getting it out. And then lastly would be just sharing your story. This was like something that I have been more and more comfortable with doing, like really sharing like some of the traumatic things I've been through. And it's, when people come to you and, just tell you that they've been through X, Y, and Z, and you, showing them that, okay, it's not that bad, you can
Right.
get, you can speak on it and still, love yourself and be confident in.
Yeah.
So, just share your story and don't hold it in, even if it's with your mother. Healing that maternal relationship is important too. That's important. I think
Does that mean call her? Does that mean call her and really heal it? Or do we just heal it within ourselves, like journal about the connection? Or do we actually, you know, take action in?
you gotta go at your pace.
Yeah.
Cause it is hard because they are still opening up to all these new ways and speaking out on things that they did wrong, or or they didn't know.
They're from a
So
different era for sure. So it's
yeah,
different. The knowledge that we have that we're awakening to, I think a lot of us, our parents, aren't even aware of it. So we're kind of waking them up as well. So
exactly. And so I would say go at your own pace. But I think that us younger women, we have the wisdom. We're doing the work internally. So we can take on that role of really like putting in that energy and time to healing our maternal, because those are our roots. That's their initial. There are so if you consider like the mother the soil and the father gives you the seed, like our
yeah,
soil has been so depleted and non-nurtured,
hmm,
and even in it can tell. You can tell. That's why they're angry. They're defensive. It's just
they're masculine.
all these energies that
Yeah,
show that they have not been nurtured, and they need it. They want it, but it takes us for us to be healed enough to stand anchored in knowing that, okay, this is important not only for me but for my children, for my
yep.
children's children. For you to keep having to remind yourself, even though like this person you have emotional, attachment to, and they can really trigger things in you. We have to just be wise and kind of like not master, but balance our emotions and just stand firm in the work that we know that we're doing to move the whole family forward.
Yep. It's breaking generational curses. And that's what I'm
Exactly.
trying to do. But it takes this. Before you can even heal somebody or break a curse, you got to heal yourself first.
Yes.
So
So I
thank
think,
you, Jess. Jess came through, first of all. Ladies, okay, you can follow Jess. Just give them all your information.
yes. So my personal page is right here, 12 the Love Child.
And it's
And
also posted on the page. You can go on a post and click and follow her from there.
yes, I'm mainly on this page. You can DM me on there if you want some herbs. Like I said, I have yoni steaming herbs, and I have a herbal blend for a full body formula that's going to tackle everything you need. But it's fall and it's winter that's coming. So I have that, and also you can follow my women's page on at Women Let's Speak
Women, let's speak.
or WLS. So
Hey,
I don't know if you posted that on the flyer too, but
I didn't. I'm going to tag it though. I'll tag it. So I guess that wraps up our first session with Jess because it's so much tea,
Yeah,
literally, that we're
right.
gonna have to run this back again and then go in depth on some other topics. But thank you, Jess, for coming and having Goddess talk with us because this was so needed today. Everybody who's coming in late, no worries. I'm gonna post this video. You guys can go and watch it from Master Your Energy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so until next time, peace, girl. Love you.
Peace, love. Bye, everyone.
See you.
I don't know.